In this video, I will be talking about communication components and process. Welcome to Get It Right with Kawe. Communication. This is the process of exchanging data, information, and ideas from one person who is the sender to another who is a receiver. This can be done in many forms, which include writing, electronic media, speaking, and so on. In a business setup, communication among employees is important in order to achieve synergy. Communication is also important between employees and their superiors for good delegation. It allows the superiors and supervisors to lead the employees accordingly. We can imagine a scenario where a manager is trying to give instructions to one of his employees. The sender is the person that intends on passing a message, instruction, or idea to another person. So in our scenario, the manager becomes the sender. Message is the particular data, instruction, or idea being transmitted. Encoding. This is a way in which a person phrases, organizes his or her idea. Medium. This is the particular method that the sender decides to use when transmitting their message. In this case, the manager decides what method he's going to use. Is he going to send an email, or he's going to send a text, or maybe a phone call? It depends. The receiver is the person that the idea or message is intended for. From our scenario, the employee receiving the message is the receiver. Decoding. This is the process of translating or interpreting a message that has been sent. This is a process that is done by the receiver. So in our case, the employee will decide a way in which he's going to translate the message that has been sent to him or her. Feedback. This is the response that is sent to the sender based on what has been communicated. So the employee, after receiving the message, will now determine the feedback, the response that he will send back to the manager. Noise and interference. These are environmental factors, personal conclusions made on the basis of reasoning, which can be psychological, somatic, physical, or physiological, that affect the message. In our case, it could be noise. Maybe the other employees are making noise while the employee tries to decode the message. It affects the way in which they will interpret the message. Context. This is the circumstance that has led to the need to communicate the idea. For communication to be complete, a message has to be sent and received. We're now able to determine the communication process. So a sender decides the message that they want to send, encodes it, and also determines the communication channel. These two stages are affected by some noises. The message is then sent to a receiver who decodes the message in order for them to understand. The decoding process is also affected by some noise and interference. The receiver then therefore decides the response that he or she wants to send to their manager. And this response in turn becomes the feedback that is finally sent to the sender. And that's the communication process.